This show is presented by the 323 Network. You can watch all your favorite 323 friends and shows on the 323 Network YouTube channel, follow us on all social media platforms at 323Reid, and support us as we continue to grow at patreon.com/323Reid. That's 323 REID. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 323. I am your host, Reid Murphy. Welcome to another edition of GRICKS versus GRICKS, a very fun one this week, an extra fun one. We always love it when we can bring on guests to join, the woeful likes of me, your host, Reid Murphy, Scott Ellia over there from the 323 College Shame Day, Zuhair Ali, who you can find on Animation Deliberation, wherever you get podcasts, who's with us for the whole show, I assume, unless he falls asleep. But
no guarantees.
No guarantees. And those...
I'm not the napper here.
Those voices... Yeah, we have a lot... Yeah, at some point we need to dive into your nap, Scott. We got to get into this.
Yeah, it's a problem.
We want to welcome some very special new friends here that are going to be joining for this week and doing some guest picks, and really probably just going to just destroy us if I've been looking at these records correct. we welcome the two old ladies that bet, Mindy, Hahne, and Tiffany Mantz. Thank you for being here, y'all. It is good to see you. Of course.
We're excited to be here. Yes, totally pumped for this. We're ready to go.
They are professional handicappers and data analysts for EPA Sports, that you can catch on the Two Old Ladies That Bet Network. I love that name.
Good, because you're like the only person. You are the only one. Everyone else tells us how much they hate it.
Why?
Well, first of all, they're like, you guys aren't old. And I'm like, well, we are old-ish and not getting any younger by any means. And we kind of started our network during COVID, right? And no one could get their hair done at the time. So this was full heads of gray hair back in the day. But yeah, we kind of, wanted something cool and different. We wanted sports betting to become kind of more of the routine or the norm rather than the non-norm for females. And so we kind of wanted something a little bit more inviting. We were hoping anyway.
And we kind of feel like, because again, a lot of what we do is like teaching people how to bet. And so we feel like a little bit like we're your moms too. So we kind of have that age in us too.
Right.
We could always use that around here. We could, especially with our records. I don't know how our betting slip went the last couple of weeks, but we will catch up with Scott on that. He's shaking his head, so it's not a good sign. But I want to ask you guys, how did you two meet in the first place? How did you two meet, and how did this all come together? How'd you get into sports betting?
Well, I mean, I'm 2 years younger than Tiffany, so I met her at birth.
You're 2 years older.
Oh, yeah, 2 years older.
She's older and wiser. We're sisters.
Actually. Oh, you're sisters. So okay.
Yeah, the sports betting sisters is what we should have named it, but
it didn't work out that way.
Maybe we'll rebrand it someday.
Yeah, so that's it. We've known each other for life, and it's kind of one of those that our dad was huge into betting on sports. I mean, I guess he's huge in betting in general, right? Yeah. So, like, if we played Go Fish, we'd have to play for like a dime. Like,
yeah, he his whole life he did not allow. You didn't play for fun. Like, we had to have some stakes, or it wasn't even worth playing.
Right. So, I mean, we started making our first bets when we were like 8 years old. Our dad would take us to the bookie to pay up.
Well, and he would come home from work and he'd give us each our little bookie sheet. I mean, that's just, the 80s when none of this was legal. And we'd each get our sheet.
Nor on mine.
And kind of like, if you remember the JCPenney catalog where you circle what you want, we'd circle all of our bets and be like, here's my slip.
And he'd bet it for us.
And this was back in the days when, we only had like 3, 6, and 7. There was no internet. And we had to call a phone line to check winners.
Right.
It was a recording, kind of like the old movie line, which you guys probably don't even know anything about.
But yeah, so we started betting in about 1985.
Yeah, so we have a lot of combined years of experience. Our dad was really he just made everything fun, and he made it exciting, and we loved it. But he was terrible bet, like
the worst.
He bet with his gut. He would be down, and what he's like, what
He'd
would
be like, all right, Mindy, don't tell your mom, but I'm down $800 on Monday night. Who are we taking, the Giants or the Redskins? That's kind of what it would be.
he was a wild card all around. And
Yeah.
so really from that, I mean, it has made us competitive, but it also made us at a certain point realize that maybe we can
Do better.
So what's your go-to sport that you bet? I see Kobe and Jordan back behind you. Is basketball the number one, or
No, basketball is probably number 4. How about that?
number 4? Okay.
Yeah, number 4. So we are Husker fans, right? So we like college football. College football, though, is hard to bet on, right? It's one of those sports that there's a huge talent disparity, right, between the conferences. So once you get into conference play, it's a little bit more of a go-to. But basically, the NFL is very predictable. So is the NBA. It is one of those that we can win a lot of money on. Same with the NHL. So we pretty much bet everything except for soccer and tennis.
From a fan perspective, football is our favorite.
Yes.
But we pretty much bet on anything.
I feel like soccer is. I've tried to bet soccer. I've tried to bet soccer during World Cups, anything, and it's impossible for me. And I'm somebody that likes, Scott knows, I like to go for the, anytime touchdowns, anytime scores, all that and everything. Doesn't work in soccer. I feel like that's the worst one to try and bet. No, yeah, exactly. You'll see that later when we do this betting slip, how we go for it. But you all have, from what I saw on the site, it may have been updated since then, but I think this is the most updated, a lifetime record of 1,063, 756, and 19. And
yeah, so this was
60%. Oh, no, yes, it's a 60% clip from what I saw. So I just wanted to see what goes into the process.
Yeah, so this is actually going to be for the actual 2 old ladies that bet premium picks over the last 3 years. So it's not updated for this season yet because I've been a little bit lazy. But those are our numbers for since about 2020 and 2021. So we are huge volume bettors. So what we bet is probably 8 or 9 times more than what you see right there.
Yeah.
Personally, what we bet.
Yeah, those are just the ones that we like. These are our best bets that we put out and we sell. But when like last weekend, I mean, I made 20 college football bets, which, then on my site I only was sell a handful.
Right.
Wow. So I don't, can't give away the full formula or anything, but what are some of the things that you all look into? What are the things that you look for when making these bets?
Well, basically it's our brain on paper, right? So how we think games are won or lost is basically kind of what it comes down to, right? So we look at things like our modeling has about 3 different tiers to it. So you have talent and coaching, right? That's one way that you can look at it. Is this college football team, they have more talent and the better coach? Yes. Then we can kind of look at pace of play, right? How many possessions each of these teams get. And then their offensive and defensive efficiencies, right? So this is going to be, again, how good they are on offense and defense. Because a lot of people just look at, hey, what have you done for scoring? But a lot of people forget, hey, what do you do on defense? What do you allow your opponents? And then each sport has its own intricacies, right? So we're real heavy on, say, kill percentage in the NHL. So that's kind of one of those things that's like a big factor or a big indicator for us. So there's some of those things that we weigh heavier than not. And we have revamped this formula. We've been keeping stats over like the last about 14 years. And so we have all of this data that we can use to get better every year. And that's what our goal is, right? We want to go ahead and we track every single bet that we make, and we track those buckets. So we look at variances based off of our formula and also the odds based off of our formula. And we try to find the buckets. So like I know for the NHL right now, if I'm looking at my team totals and I'm sitting at plus money or minus 110, that's an automatic. I'm going to take the over under on that based off of our formula. But again, those are our own internal numbers, right? How we see this game playing out. Or we can take a look at, hey, what's our variance? Is it over plus 1.5 pucks, right? 1.5 goals. Is that something that we're going to go ahead and take? So our goal as a sports bettor is we want to go ahead and win over the 55.5%, right? We want to go ahead and basically put our money where we can make the most. And we know right now some of those buckets for the NHL, we're hitting at like 74%. And that's some of those that we give out. Those are our picks that we want to go ahead and give out to the public, and share a little bit of our knowledge as well. Because I want people to not be scared to put their money in. Because the only way that you can break Vegas is by getting your bankroll in. Because what is everything that Vegas tells us? They tell us to bet parlays, because you can make a lot of money. Well, that's not really probably the way to go. They also say, hey, only bet 1 or 2% of your bankroll, right? Don't you hear that all the time? That's what Vegas is telling you, to not beat them. So we actually bet more like 4 or 5% a game of our bankroll.
Okay, interesting.
Get our money in.
This is fascinating, and I love that you said that about the parlay. I noticed that got a good reaction from Scott and Zoo on how we've been handling things.
We do some parlays because our thing is it's about being like efficient with our money and smart with our money. And so in all these betting apps, you get all these free parlay bets. So
we're going to take advantage of that.
So we bet those, but our meat and potatoes are straight bets ultimately.
Yeah. So basically what we look at is we try to bet as many games as we can, right? So we know that there's 30 in the NBA, so that's going to be sides and totals, and about 32 in the NHL, side, total, or puck line, however you want to play it. So we could have 62 bets out there in one day, and then basically what we do is we divide our bankroll by 50%, or we divide it by 32% or 28% when we're betting WNBA. So we have rules, and we know through time that we're making plays that are going to be able, over the long term, to hit at above that 50-60%. And that's like our main goal here, to do this for a living, basically.
Exactly. I got you. So look, we're on right now. Hello. Who is that?
All right. See ya. Get out.
Oh, we're no strangers to it. I've had my cat Kamala, she's a regular on the show, of somebody that's tried to take out the audio and everything.
Right.
If he doesn't offer meatball subs, she gets very upset.
That's true. That's been she's a menace.
I do too.
Well, look, we're right here in dead in the center of NFL season and all the madness that is football. We all know that when it comes to picking games, when it just comes to watching it, it's insane. Everything about the sport, everything about the NFL is insane. So I want to ask you all, and I want to ask everybody, going into this, we're at the halfway point. And for you two in particular, when it comes to betting and the success that you've had, how has this season looked to you? How has this season been compared to maybe other NFL seasons of the past? Is it crazier than that? I know scoring is kind of down, so I don't know if that's affected anything for you all. How has it all been for you? What are your takes on this NFL season?
We've had a couple of rough weeks. I mean, because a lot of this stuff, you really can't predict. But that's why, again, we're also smart about it. So, I'll be honest, I lost all but one of my NFL bets last weekend. but I won all but one of my basketball bets. So I still end up pushing for the day. But some of the stuff, you can't expect the Bills to lose to the Broncos. Stuff like that. There's some anomalies that you just can't. The numbers can't predict that, and that's why it's gambling.
Yeah. So
you mean you weren't expecting Bajent to win a game?
Right. But it's also something too, for us, our best model is a 4-game moving average. So we actually don't bet the first 4 weeks of the NFL, and everyone's like, how can you just stay away and not bet anything? It's easy, right? Because we know with our modeling what we're looking at and what we think our best strategy is moving forward. That's why we do like to bet the NBA and the NHL more, is because we can get more games in every day, because we're limited to those 9 games or so on a Sunday, right? That's all we can get our money in. How are we going to break Vegas betting 4 Sundays a month? We're not. So that's why we need to get our money in all the sports that we can.
And one of the other things that we really worked on and kind of figured out too is about, you really need to compound your bet. So some people will bet, maybe whatever your unit play is, say it's $10 a game, but they're going to bet $10 a game for the whole season. But when you're ahead, you need to start bumping that up. So $12 a game. And then next week it's $14 a game. And you need to keep reinvesting that money that you're winning.
Exactly. So that's what we're saying. It's basically interest-free money that you win from Vegas. And so again, it's you take your bankroll, divide it by 50, and that's what you're going to play. So this week it may be $20, next week it might be 30, the week after that it might be 50, and suddenly you're betting 100, you're betting $1,000 a game. So that's kind of how that goes, right? You can start with $100 and you can make 20 grand by the end of a season if you go ahead
Like
and
with basketball.
And again, that's what I'm telling you. Vegas wants you to just put in a little bit because there's no way that you can go ahead and ever make it up, especially if you're only hitting 50% in a season.
That's right. That's right. So through this season, and I'm curious because Scott's had a plague here. So I want to know if there's been any particular player or team in the NFL that has maybe plagued you all, like Zach Wilson. I think it's Zach Wilson that has for Scott when it comes to betting like over on rushing yards, just little amounts of rushing yards or anything, these quarterbacks. And it's one particular player or team that just really plagues. Have you guys just been haunted?
Yes.
Well, personally,
It's the same person, and he's playing tonight.
As I was going to say, you know what? Every week I'm like, Lamar Jackson is dead to me.
Yeah, it's been Lamar Jackson. He's been the worst for us. Seriously.
How so?
You know? Well, I
He's a
mean,
Raven.
just blowing up spreads, right? I mean,
Underproduced.
you're up what 29-7 last week, and you let the Browns come back and beat you at 33-30, right? And it's happened multiple times throughout the season as well. And then we do like to play fantasy sports also. And so it's one of those, again, he's a Kirk Cousins. He's feast or famine too, right?
Yeah.
You could have 5 touchdowns one week and 5 interceptions the next.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Mark Andrews got hurt on the opening drive of this game. So
Did he really?
Yeah.
Did he?
Is he
Oh,
out?
my fantasy.
yeah, he limped off hard.
Oh no.
Damn it, Zoo.
Well, good thing I don't put the Thursday game into this parlay.
Right.
Well, I actually have a same game parlay going on this, and we do another live show during the day. And one of the things I gave out was Mark Andrews. And right before the show started, I was putting it in, and I was like, why is this lower? And I forgot to put in the Mark Andrews. So
There we go.
I think he might have like a divine intervention.
I think that might have been the 323 or the 323 angel numbers helping me out.
That's what we do. That's what we do.
I
Look.
know. We like that. We kind of checked out the 323,
Yeah.
positive impact on the world. I love those angel numbers. So
Yeah.
it's awesome that your dad had a big impact on your life as well.
I appreciate that. Yeah, of course. It stays with the show forever, and it stays memorable. And those numbers
Yeah,
those numbers will be there for you. So, look, Zoo, since you went ahead and tried to kill their night with the Mark Andrews news and everything with the Ravens,
Yeah, great. Thanks.
they brought up the Ravens in that massive collapse against Cleveland last week.
Yeah.
And it's strangely not the first time this season that it's been this way for Baltimore. Baltimore has had a wild streak of being able to blow crazy leads there in the fourth quarter. So I don't know your thoughts on this, Zoo, as our resident pandering Ravens fan. You have to pander to the Ravens fans of whether they're real or not. We always jokingly ask, are the Raiders for real? Are the Ravens for real, Zoo?
I mean, I've never trusted Lamar. Like, he looks good on numbers, and he'll hype you up a couple games and give you those splashy plays. But like, he's never been healthy throughout a whole season. He doesn't win when you really need to. They're like the Bills, right? Like, they're fun to watch, but like, how far are they actually going to get with it?
Oof. The Bills are a really interesting one. And Mindy, Tiffany, y'all brought it up earlier about them losing to Denver, which, I mean, Denver has started to improve a little bit, but you still wouldn't pick. Nobody's
sure.
I mean,
you see little glimpses of like the Russell Wilson of the past, but then you're like, oh, here's the new Russell Wilson, the mayor of Denver.
that insane.
Are they improving enough to make you want to build around Peyton and Russell next year?
No.
But do you have an option though? Do you have an option? And Russell, I think from the little bit of Denver Broncos football that I've watched this year, he has shown, like you said, he's shown a lot of those glimpses. I think even in that Monday night game, that incredible throw that incredible catch that Cortland Sutton made.
Oh, that was
was a beautiful throw by Russell, almost like a double, like almost a double spin move
6
to get
foot out of
there.
bounds. I mean, that was
I
insane.
don't want to
Yeah.
say that I called it, but I did have a Cortland Sutton anytime scorer on my.
That's what we need. That's what we want. That's the expertise. But on the opposing side of that, Scott, the Buffalo Bills are a team that we've followed pretty closely this year in terms of trying to figure out, and we talked about it in our preseason show about not really believing in the Bills, starting to believe that they might be frauds this year just because of that window, that window that we talk about every year that's just slammed shut on teams out of nowhere. We thought it was starting to close on Buffalo. Do you think the window is officially closed on Buffalo, or are we getting there? Is there a little room for Josh Allen to stick his sausage fingers in and lift that thing up?
Buffalo.
No, it's definitely starting to get close to the windowsill. I don't think it's officially closed just because of how open the AFC can still be. I just feel that I'm interested to see what take their offense is going to be going now that Ken Dorsey has been fired. So I want to give it another game or two to really kind of put the pin in them to say.
But we're kind of getting down to it that, they really can't.
They're running out of time.
You got to get at least 10 wins to make the playoffs. And you can't, maybe win the next 2 games trying to figure out a new coordinator. You know what I mean? So they definitely got to do something the next couple of weeks.
Well, and especially in that division and, in the AFC East with Miami getting A-Chain back this week and trying to finally pick up some wins against winning teams. They're getting that fraud talk and all. They have no threat from New England. And, Aaron Rodgers might return apparently by Christmas is what we're hearing.
But he'll still self-destruct. It's fine.
Oh, he will. He will. Because I don't know why. I don't know why you would come back behind that offensive line. I'll ask you to. I'll ask you to, and I want to start with you two, and I'll go to Zoo and Scott on this too. But so far through the season, who is the very best in this sport? Who do you think? Because you can have plenty of teams that it's every year we have these clusters of 5 and 4s, and the 5 and 4s, 4 and 5s, 6 and 4s, whatever, and you can't tell who's actually good. Who do you all actually believe are the best teams in this league that can win it this year?
I mean, I'm still looking at last year's Super Bowl. Chiefs and Eagles. We'll see what they can do on Monday night. I see glimpses just because we know how good the 49ers defense can be. But suddenly they kind of, crapped out. So I don't know. That's kind of what I'm thinking, but
I still kind of feel like we can't count out the Lions. The Lions have been having a great year. They're just kind of clicking. I don't know. Like, I don't think the Ravens are going to hang in there. I don't think the Jags are going to hang in there. I mean, that really is kind of leaving the Chiefs. But again, the Chiefs haven't been the Chiefs of old. I mean, so really, I also am going to say I'm not going to count out the Texans because who's coming on strong right now? I mean, CJ Stroud's having a career season ultimately. So
in a weak division.
Yeah, it is a weak division, but that's why, I mean, they could easily make it they're going to make it to the playoffs because their division's trash. And if you look at the games they got left, I mean, it's their division games. I mean, I think they're playing the Cardinals this week. And I mean, they're playing a bunch of teams that combined have 8 wins, Yeah.
Zoo, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, the top 3 for the NFC right now are definitely the easiest one with the Eagles, Niners, and now we can confidently add in the Lions. I mean, the Lions have the same record as the Chiefs right now. But in terms on the AFC side, there's a lot of quarterback talent, but there doesn't seem to be too much balance and consistency with the team's productions. What you're going to get out of a Dolphins offense. There is the tools of what they've exposed in techniques to start them. It's just a matter of if you have the coordinator and the players to actually enforce that, right? We know what Miami's doing in their dynamic offense. You know who you need to shut down, but is anybody physically able to actually do it? So the Dolphins will definitely keep things interesting. I know the Chiefs will somehow just do some type of voodoo, just make things work their way.
They got the Taylor Swift factor. Taylor Swift is
the
their
Swift
good luck
factor.
charm.
She's going to be at all those playoff games. We're going to see more of her than we are the game itself.
Yeah.
There won't be any ad commercials because she's just going to pay the revenue that we don't need to run ads. So we
That
can
would
just
be
look at
amazing.
her. And the Texans, I don't know if how much of this is actually going to be consistent because they have their division seed right now. Actually, no, they're behind the Jaguars. Excuse me. They are number 7.
Yeah, and I think they're.
I
playing
don't
the
know how
Georgia-
consistent they'll be. We'll figure that out as things go along, but they could be entertaining to watch, even if it's only in the wild card round.
Yeah, but we got a lot of football left.
Oh yeah, and it's the most unpredictable. It's the most unpredictable thing. And Scott, before I turn it to you to see who you think the very best in this league has been this year, in terms of predictions, you made a prediction back in February, right after the Super Bowl, during our Super Bowl hangover show. And you predicted who the best team in the league would be this year. So I just want you to tell me if it holds up, and if not, who is the actual best right now.
Cemented in right now, planting my flag, February 15th.
Wow.
The Minnesota Vikings are going to be defeating the Indianapolis Colts in Las Vegas for the Super Bowl.
Oh boy.
I'm still half right on that one. I'll do that real quick.
For which one?
Not the Colts. Not the Colts. There's a lot more backstory to that, though, Reid. There's a lot of conspiracy theories and feeling like the NFL is rigged and it's scripted and a whole bunch of stuff. I am still going to hold firm on the Vikings going to the Super Bowl. I don't know, Reid, if you wanted to talk about the predictions we had preseason
See my
as well.
Vikings cup.
Ooh, skull.
There we go.
Supporting you.
All right. Well, since we're on the top, well, really quick, I don't really have anything to add as far as best teams so far. You know, Eagles, Chiefs are probably 1-2. You know, the Niners, I'm just worried about consistency with them. I think one team that people is not really so much sleeping on, but they're kind of going under the radar right now is the Dallas Cowboys. I think if Dak continues playing like a top 10 quarterback like he is right now, I mean, I think they've won the last 4 or 5 home games against the Eagles. So if they're able to get that from them this year, they still have a lot of tough games on their schedule, but I think Dallas might be a sneaky team. But back into my conspiracy theories about Super Bowl. Super Bowl 56, that was the Rams and the Bengals. This was the first year that the NFL and the Super Bowl changed their whole logo for the Super Bowl to like that dual color scheme. So that was the year it was orange and yellow, and the Rams and the Bengals collectively have orange and yellow. Last season, Super Bowl 57, the color scheme in that one was green and red. And who played last year? The Eagles and the Chiefs. This year, it's purple and red. Ooh. So if you want to think about teams that are purple and red, you have the Chiefs, you have the Niners, you have the Ravens, and you have the Vikings. I think with how much Travis Kelce has turned into Roger Goodell's little baby darling in the Chiefs, and how much hype would be going into the Super Bowl with Taylor Swift being there. Will she, won't she go on stage for some special like concert showing? And then you look on the NFC side, the only purple team there is the Vikings.
Yep.
So how do you feel about those 2 teams being the conference games? Or those 4 teams being the conference games?
I don't know how I feel about that. I think it's going to come down to, I couldn't even see it being a completely purple and red just all the way through. It's Ravens, Chiefs in the AFC Championship game, and then you have the Vikings and the Niners playing in the NFC Championship game, just to roll into that.
Hopefully without Mark Andrews.
Yeah, well, no, that's my
real nice.
That's my fantasy tight end. I kind of need him, Zoo. Let's not.
Is he back in yet?
He settled his fate when he pissed me off in the preseason. So,
but look, yeah, Scott, you brought up the preseason predictions, and so we will just review those real quick. I do want to get after that the top 5 worst beats ever. This is a bad beats. You know, bad beats. It's one of Scott Van Pelt's biggest things. So, Mindy, Tiffany, if you all have a top 5 list of your worst beats, I would love to hear that from you all. But before we get to it, then I'll give you time. We can stall to get that set up. Even Scott's, if he's got his. I know I have one that just fills up my entire thing.
I think I know exactly which one you're going to talk about too.
Our preseason predictions. And Mindy, Tiffany, tell me how you feel, who you think is looking the best on it. So between the 3 of us and our other regulars, Luis, I picked the Cincinnati Bengals to beat the San Francisco 49ers. I'm still feeling decently about that pick. Scott picked in the preseason, he picked the Vikings over the Ravens. So you're really sticking to Josh Dobbs, the Pastronaut here, even without Kirk O'Bangs. in there.
Kirk.
Zuhair, he picked the Dolphins against the 49ers, and Luis picked the Eagles to beat the, at that time, Aaron Rodgers-led New York Jets. Very confident Jets fan Luis was.
That was a homer pick. A homer pick.
Now it's, and I wish he was here. I'd love to ask the question. Sky, you could even tell me who's having a shittier time this year, Mac Jones or Zach Wilson. That's one.
Mac Jones.
That's one to punt. It's bad.
You expect that out of Zach Wilson.
I think he's hurting himself on purpose. I don't think he wants to play anymore.
Well, I think that's what
bad for
Deshaun
him a
Watson
little
did.
bit.
Which is really funny when he greeted Goodell at his draft. He's like, "That's what I wanted. This is what I wanted."
What he thought he wanted.
Is this what you wanted?
No, nobody wants that.
But of those Super Bowl predictions, and I think then our MVP predictions, I had Joe Burrow, Zoo, and Luis both picked Jalen Hurts for MVP, and Scott picked Kirk Cousins as he
I'm close
continues
with my
to.
update.
He's
Brunch time Kirk.
Brunch time Kirk did not. The Achilles didn't hold up during brunch, so I don't know how you all feel about those. How you felt going into the season, what your predictions were, and if anything has changed since then significantly.
Well, we kind of just talked about it a little bit, right? I mean, I kind of like, again, a repeat Super Bowl. Otherwise, maybe a Chiefs 49ers. I mean, that's kind of what I'm looking at. I just kind of feel like the Bengals aren't quite there. That's just kind of how I feel about it. They got off to a rough start, and that's hard. I think the Chiefs have been down a little bit. Their receiving core has been struggling, but I think that's one thing that you can kind of go ahead and you can make strides with as you go. There's different, plays, play action. There's lots of things that you can do. So I don't know. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and someone said, Eagles or 49ers? That's kind of where I'd go.
And I am kind of a Chiefs homer. So at the beginning of the year, I was like Chiefs all the way, but my confidence is wavering based on what I've seen, but they always seem to find a way to get it done. So, I mean, I'm definitely not counting them out. I kind of liked whoever picked the Dolphins 49ers. I mean, I kind of feel like I think that was a pretty good pick there for the beginning of the season too. But yeah, again, I kind of feel like it's a coin toss, but I think all those things are definitely doable. But yeah, I'm thinking Chiefs still.
Patrick Mahomes did have those scary words the other day. Like he after the Germany game, he said, "I promise we're going to get it together," and it almost sounded like a threat. It sounded like a threat to the league.
Right.
I will be amazed if they don't draft a wide receiver in the first round next year.
Well, Zoo, do you think the Chiefs can return this year, or are you sticking with your preseason predictions?
I think there's a good chance they could make it. I mean, they would be my runner-up to Miami, but yeah.
What do you guys think about the Chargers? You think they're out? I mean, I kind of think they've been struggling.
Yeah, Reid, what do you think about Brand Staley?
I hate Brandon. There's a lot of.
I mean, it kind of matches my what I wanted to say about the Cowboys is that it's either a blowout or it's just what is wrong with this team? There's no in between over there, and the Chargers is the same. It really is the flip of the coin of what team you're going to get each week, and it's just it makes no sense. So I don't know how to ever feel about it. I'm always a big fan for Cowboys embarrassing themselves in the playoffs, even if that means I have to wear a Cowboy shirt this offseason because of a bet that I know I'm going to lose. But yeah, it's just I never know what to think with those two.
This season has been crazy. I mean, it's stuff that when you expect a certain thing, other shit's happening. So
the Raiders are actually entertaining to watch. What happened there?
Oh, yeah.
Ew, God.
That's a great Scott. Listen, Antonio Pierce's Raiders, they're completely different from Josh McDaniels' Raiders. So I have to bring the question back. The eternal question is returned. Are the Raiders for real now?
No, they're not for real at all.
Darn.
I also vote no.
Never.
It's the smart route. It's the smart route that we usually go with on here. Oh, well, look, as we're getting out of that, before we get into the Ricks versus Gricks picks, I do want to get that top 5 on the top 5 worst beats and just really sink into some misery real quick before we get into all the fun. So let me get this top 5 intro in. We will get to you to your top 5 from number 5 and then going up. But first, we have to go for the epic dramatic music.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is the 323's Top 5.
Oh shit. Here we go again.
Yes, this is the 323's Top 5. And as we're getting into it, I just saw Lamar Jackson slow to get up on the sideline in this game. Just got smashed to the ground. So any Baltimore predictions, we'll just, start to bring those back.
He's running right now.
The top 5 worst beats that the two old ladies at bed have ever had to deal with. These bad beats, man. Like I can't even make a top 5. Like Scott, we alluded to it. My worst beat ever. It was a fantastic parlay. It was going to win me, I think, at least hundreds and hundreds of dollars off of like a $5 bet. And the only thing I needed was a Tom Brady over 2 rushing yards, I think, 2.5 rushing yards. And he had it. He had 4 rushing yards. It's the end of the game. And then whatever team they were playing just had to be selfish and stupid and get a turn the ball over. So Brady has to take a couple kneels. He has to kneel it down a couple bits. I lose the yardage. He finishes with like 1 yard rushing. Parlay dead.
Boom. Gone.
That was I can't give anything else because usually just all my bets are bad beats. They're not bad beats. I just like playing it like that. But what have been the worst for you all? I would like to start at number 5 for you.
So we didn't necessarily rank them, but I'll give you one from last week. It was the same thing. How did Christian McCaffrey not get in the end zone last week?
Yep.
I had like a 7-leg parlay that I lost because of that, and I'm like, every freaking buddy else on that team scored, and then watching him like get like denied, trying to still hurts. But we like to point out that as bettors, we got to have short memories. So that was only from last week.
Well, it's kind of funny because I feel like some days I have 5 bad hockey beats when they pull the goalies and I wind up losing the puck line. So it feels like I go through that kind of issues weekly. But one of my I'm going to say one that really, really stands out for me because I didn't know we had to do total 5, right? I got another one. But for me, it was last year. I don't remember who Alabama basketball, who they were playing. I do not recall. But it was one of these that I have Alabama giving 7. Alabama is up by 8. So that means I am winning by 1. The opposing team is standing behind the 3-point line, dribbling the ball, just going to let the game expire with 10 seconds left. Dribbling. An Alabama guy runs up to him and fouls him. Why? I have no idea. Like the game was over. So they fouled him, goes to the line, shoots 2, Mindy loses. That's what I like, what the hell is that? Like, who is fouling this guy that's just letting the clock just run out for the opposing team? I have no idea what happened with that.
Sports are just pain.
The other one that I was
Commanders fans, we know.
One of my worst. This was maybe 3 years ago. I don't know if you guys remember, but this really was more of a fantasy loss that I'm still pissed about. I had Nick Chubb, and he got the ball. It was the end of the game. He gets loose on like a 70-yard run, and then runs out of bounds on the 1-yard line to run the timeout, the clock out. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah, everyone likes those. You remember the Maurice Jones-Drew? That's one of those that I remember, trying to go in the middle and lost everyone's fantasy week for them.
That one just looked like it hit Scott. It hit Scott deep in the guts.
He burned me so many damn times. I just hated it.
Yeah. So
Scott.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I have just as many good wins as I do bad, but those are a couple. The Ohio State Northwestern game, everyone kind of always talks about that one, just kind of throwing the ball around, accidentally get it back into the end zone. They cover it for a touchdown and blow the spread. I mean, that's another one that's a big one that folks kind of remember. But the Alabama one still sticks at me because that was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. So,
but we like to share our big triumphs too. Like we've also had the flip side where you have something like that, but it's like a miraculous comeback and you win. And you're like, those are even better than the loss.
Right. It was the Colorado State game. Everyone watched that one. I had the over, and they had to recover 2 onside and score 2 touchdowns, and they did. So hey, who was happy? Me.
at 3 o'clock in the morning here, Central Time.
And see, you all are awesome. So I think people, especially people that stick with this show, would root for you and would love to hear about the triumphs and everything. It's me and Scott. Maybe Zoo people root for. Me and Scott people would love to root against us. They love to.
Oh, they don't want me winning any money.
Oh yeah, it's wonderful when we fail, when we come up just short. Like Scott's miraculous 1-5 week on Ricks versus Gricks, a couple weeks ago, where he didn't show up the next week to talk about it. It was incredible timing.
No, I needed the mental health day on that one.
Right,
Scott.
Sorry, I fell asleep.
Scott, if you can cap us off, what's the worst beat that you've ever had?
I think the one, when you said worst beat, this is the one that stuck out in my brain from this season. It would have been, I think it was the inaugural Wheel of Degenerate betting slip that we do on the College Shame Day channel, where we trust the fates. We put in all games that have a top 25 team in there, whatever 5 games it lands on, you bet on it. And I didn't listen to myself. I know how Lincoln Riley is with his defense at USC, and I know teams like putting up points on him, but I still took the spread of 34.5 against Arizona State, and it was the only game that I missed that whole week. They ended up winning the game, so good for them, but not good for me.
Just no defense, right? Yeah.
Yay for us failing. Yay for the triumphs that the two old ladies have had. Well, look, we're gonna get into some fresh picks. Some 6 fresh games to get into. That was a wild semi-tongue twister I just had there.
That was a journey.
I know. I narrowly made it. I narrowly made it through. We're safe. Let's get right into the eternal voice of Emily Sissel and Ricks versus Gricks.
Life, death, time, space. Forget everything you think you know. Put your money on the line. It's time for Ricks versus Gricks. Gricks?
That's right. Ricks versus Gricks. Reid's picks versus Griffin's picks. We have Griffin, the Grick, the eternal Grick, lost in space, but still in that top corner right above Scott's shoulder up there. He's just peering down at him. And
it's scary.
As we compete to try and get a new Grick here in the game, somebody to replace Griffin fully in that title, Zoo is still commanding with a lead here. He had, all of us last week went 3-3 plus a 2-4 Luis. Look at those fireworks for Zoo. Good.
That's amazing.
Wow.
I need that in my life.
Special effects. Zoo is 37
You would
and 23.
have fireworks in your corner.
Scott is 32 and 28 now. I am 32 and 28 as well. Luis, he went 2-4 last week. He's 31 and 29 now. So it's a fresh week. It's a new start. We're about to get schooled by Mindy and Tiffany over here as we get into these 6 games. And we're doing our betting lines off of DraftKings, since that's usually where we do the parlay, the Calvin Ridley Memorial betting slip later on. The first game that we have here, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are 6-3, at the Cleveland Browns, who are 6-3. The Cleveland, as we've so named them over the season, the Cleveland Predators, they are a 1.5 point favorite here at home. So we will start with Mindy and Tiffany. Who do you all want here?
Yeah, so again, we do the same modeling, right? So we'll just kind of go, Tiffany will give our pick, I'll give our pick, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Just so, you guys have an idea of how we do it. Because we can read the same data, and sometimes, people have different picks off of the same data, just saying. So there you go.
This one, I'm taking the Browns. I don't know if that's a surprise. Do I need to give a little reasoning? I don't know what the.
Oh yeah, we would love it.
Yeah, I'm like,
sometimes
we're just kind of getting the rundown a little bit.
But that's mostly based on their defense. So I think that they're going to be able to hold the Steelers. So that's my pick.
Okay, Scott, where are you going with this one?
It's our pick. We'll share.
She's trying to get that credit.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with the Browns. I really like Dorian Thompson-Robinson as a quarterback from his time at UCLA. But yeah, you got to look at what side of the ball is strongest, and it's that Cleveland defense.
Okay. Zoo, who do you want?
Had you asked me yesterday, I would have matched it by saying it's the Browns defense that's going to carry them. It's going to be at home. But then I listened to RG3 and the Ones today, and Kenny Pickett was the guest. And I just love the interview so much that even though this is going to bite me in the ass, I'm going to take Mike Tomlin's developing offense against the Browns.
Okay. Look at RG3 swaying the vote. The Deshaun Watson injury, I think, actually, God, I just don't know what, and maybe it's been the injury, maybe it's just that maybe the game has passed him by. He's just looked awful for the most part, I think, this season. And I think he's really hurt what's a really good Browns team with that defense. Missing Nick Chubb, and the run game still doesn't really seem to miss a beat. I just I can't. Yeah, I can't trust Pittsburgh. I can't trust the Steelers. I can't trust that Steelers offense, the inconsistency. I love Deontay Johnson, but it's just, I don't know what happens with him every week there. I like Dorian Thompson-Robinson too from his time at UCLA. I'm believing in him, and I'm going with the Cleveland Browns here. The next game that we have up, Mindy and Tiffany, is the Arizona Cardinals, who are 2-8, but back with Kyler Murray. They are at the superstar Houston Texans with, LeBron James' new best friend, CJ Stroud. The Texans, they're 5-4. Houston's a 5-point favorite. Who do you all want?
Give me the Texans. I just really can't really trust much with Kyler Murray. He's never been my fave. All the guy does is scramble around and no one can catch him. It's kind of like, trying to, get Russell Wilson. But I have him winning by 5.85 to 8.15. So I think this is a easy cover for the Texans.
Okay. Scott?
Yeah, Kyler Murray reminds me of my 6-year-old when she takes candy and just tries to run away with it. I'm trying to chase her down. But yeah, no, I think we're going to go with the Texans. I really hope that CJ Stroud is going to break that whole bad juju of Ohio State quarterbacks not being able to translate well into the NFL. I think with him being a top 3 passer right now, he's definitely in contention for our offensive rookie of the year. I would even put him up there in the MVP hunt at this point with how well he's playing. I don't think anybody ever expected the Texans to have 5 wins at this point in the season. So yeah, give me the Texans at home.
Okay. Zoo, who are you taking?
I don't see this being a very high-scoring game. It might be very exciting, but I think the defenses are all going to take it over. But with that, I am on the CJ Stroud high, and we'll be taking the Texans as well.
Okay, I'm dipping, I'm zigging everywhere. I'm going with the Arizona Cardinals in this one, actually. I have been mixed on Kyler Murray, but I think that the talent is all there. I think he's hungry right now. I think he looked a lot better last week than I expected him to, coming off of that 355-day absence. Yeah. And getting James Conner back has been a big push. That Cardinals team is just scrappy. Like they're a kind of wildly scrappy team. Then the defense is it's looking like a Jonathan Gannon defense. They can keep a fight going with anybody, at least for one half. And as much as I love the Texans, I loved what DeMeco Ryans is doing there in his first year as the head coach. There's just there were so many injuries last week. I think they had 23 players on the injury report. I think things are just due to crash down a little bit. I think Arizona gets that weird NFL upset of the week. So I'm taking the Cardinals there. The next game that we do have up, America's favorite team, the Los Angeles Chargers. The team that we say, if there's a game that you think it's going to be close, go the other way. The Chargers are 4-5 after proving that correct against the Lions. They're at the Green Bay Packers, who are 3-6. LA is a 3-point favorite in this one. Mindy, Tiffany, who do y'all want?
We're taking the Chargers in this one. But I think that's really just based on the scoring history. I mean, unfortunately, the Packers, we've got friends that are Packers fans. We semi-root for them. I mean, since this isn't public, we root for them hard all the time. But they're just they're 21st in scoring. I think the Chargers got to win this one.
Okay. Scott?
I am going to go to the flip side. I'm going to go with the Packers. I don't trust the Chargers pass defense. They've been giving up a lot of yardage this year. And I was impressed with what I saw out of Jordan Love last week, even in a loss. against the Steelers on the road. I just don't trust Brandon Staley at this stage in his career to coach a competent team.
Nobody would doubt you. Nobody would blame you for it. Zoo, who are you taking?
I'm really conflicted this one. Like, I want to say that it's Packers at home and at least they have a decent defense, but it really comes down to the flip of the coin of which Chargers are going to show up and if their offense can produce points. I'm going to take my chance and stick with the Chargers on that one.
Yeah, that Chargers offense, it doesn't miss. I mean, even Josh Palmer has been out, Mike Williams has been out, Keenan Allen dealing with some type of nagging injury, but still can blow up. Austin Eckler, when he's healthy, really helps out, and Justin Herbert's just that dude. I don't think it'll be long, though, until we see the Kellen Moore interim head coach experiment just to get going there, because
I don't mind it.
Brandon Staley, he's just so toxic to this team in terms of getting them the wins that they need and maxing out on that potential that they have. I think it would be smart for them to go ahead and make that move. And a loss to a 3-6 Packers team that's kind of been so-so. It has their moments. Jordan Love is still growing. I think that would be it. And this just seems like that perfect kind of game that the Chargers lose to really just destroy everything. So just on that magic alone, I'm taking the Packers. This one. It's
magic.
It's magic. It's Brandon Staley magic. That's what I go off of. Luis's team, the New York Jets, Zach Wilson, they are 4-5. They are at the Buffalo Bills, who are 5-5 now. Buffalo is a 7-point favorite at home. Mindy, Tiffany, who are we taking?
The Bills. Come on. The Jets are bad. They can't score. They just can't. I mean, I know the Bills are going through a rough patch. It's not going to be, the tip-off game of the year all over again. It's not going to happen like it did the first outing. This is going to be a easy Bills victory.
Easy. I like it. Okay, Scott?
Yeah, I'm also going with the Bills. With them being 5-5, like we mentioned earlier, they need to get it together and actually start playing if they want to try to make some kind of Super Bowl push. So yeah, we're going to go with the Bills.
All right. Zoo?
I don't think it's going to be an easy game. I think Josh Allen is still going to have some turnovers, and I think it's going to be an interesting game, at least an interesting low-scoring first half, but this is going to be a Bills revenge game, so I'm going with Buffalo.
I will continue the streak there. I like the idea of the revenge, from that first game. I like, that first game was magic. It was magical. I keep saying magic. Aaron Rodgers running out on 9/11 with that flag, and it then injured immediately propels them to a win somehow. I don't think that happens this time. Buffalo will be angry from last week. Their fans are pissed enough to beat the hell out of each other for the last portion of the game. I'm taking Buffalo in this one. And we have a curse kind of on this show that you all should be aware of, is when we all take the same team, that usually if it's two teams, if it's two games that we all pick the same on, one of them will be a loss, one of them will be a win. Now this one, we still have Luis's picks to get at some point. He's a Jets fan. I think we're safe, but we're just going to watch that for right now to see if the curse lives on. Do you all believe in curses when it comes to curses or anything like that come into, superstitions come into mind when you're bets?
No.
So
should I?
I don't necessarily believe it, but I also don't trust my luck, right? Like, you're not going to see me walking under any ladders or anything.
I mean, do you all have a black cat? Is that a black cat that passed by?
Oh, yeah. We got 2 black cats at this house and 2 black cats at her house. Yeah.
Oh, so they offset each other.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yes. Yeah, 4 or 4.
But we randomly have white dogs. So
That is true.
More offsetting.
Okay, our second to last game, we have the Minnesota Vikings, who are 6-4, at the Denver Broncos, who are 4-5. Denver is a 2-point favorite right now, from what I've seen according to DraftKings. Denver's a 2-point favorite here at home. So, are you all going with the Pasternak, Mindy and Tiffany?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I like Tom. I think he's great. The Vikings defense actually been doing well. Hawkinson's been managing to hang in there with his injuries. Yeah, we're taking the Vikings on this one.
He's a winner. I mean, some guys just have it. He's got it.
Vikings.
There you go.
Skull.
Yeah. See, I got to go see Brett Favre, when he played for the Vikings, went and saw him versus the Ravens.
Ah, the Purple Bowl.
Yeah.
So that is an authentic stadium cup.
It is.
You'll find a lot of those at our houses.
Scott, who are you taking?
Yeah, the Vikings are currently riding a 5-game winning streak. If Kirk Cousins is the brunch time warrior, then the pastronaut Josh Dobbs is going to be there for prime time at 8 o'clock in Denver. I think Denver they're going to be riding that high with that win from last week, and I think Josh Dobbs is going to go in there and just light them up.
They're going to ride that victory with 14 points. Maybe, if they're lucky.
We'll see. We'll see. Zoo, who are you going with?
Nothing insightful to add, just going with the Vikings.
Okay. You love it. I love to see that.
I'm still trying to figure out my answer for the last one.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. And I'll give you just a little bit of more time because I'm actually I'm zigging again. I'm taking the Denver Broncos in this one.
Just tell us you hate us.
I do. But the reason why is because
of where you're placed.
Yeah, well, where I'm placed, I need to make some moves here. But also, I liked what I saw from Denver on Monday night. I don't know what it was that propelled them to step up against Buffalo in that way. It didn't necessarily seem like Buffalo was choking. I saw some good things out of Russell Wilson.
I think
it was
Buffalo
lots of
lost
turnovers.
that game.
Yeah, and I think Denver in that defense, a healthy Pat Surtain, they can make some moves here. This is my same issue that I had last year with the Seahawks and Geno Smith. They kept saying in Geno we trust, and I didn't. Josh Dobbs, I don't trust, and I just can't roll with Josh Dobbs on this one. I liked what happened last week, the week before. It ends this week in Denver. Now, our final
play the game.
Oh, you're good. Our final game. We have the Philadelphia Eagles. This is game of the week, the Kelsey Bowl. The Eagles are 8-1 at the Kansas City Chiefs, who are 7-2. The Chiefs are a 2.5-point favorite as of right now. Mindy, Tiffany, which Donna Kelsey team are you taking?
I'm taking the green Donna Kelsey team today. It's one of those that, the Chiefs, they're our team. They are our team. But the Chiefs don't cover spreads. I'm going to tell you, if the Chiefs win this, it's going to be by 1 or 2. That's just how it works out. I love A.J. Brown this year. He's playing awesome. The Eagles are just really hard to stop, and I hate the tush push. I hate the words tush push. It's just a quarterback sneak, folks. Let's run a quarterback sneak and get Jalen Hurts in the end zone. I just think the Chiefs might get the victory, but the Eagles here definitely covering the spread.
Okay, Scott.
Yeah, this is the game I kept going back and forth about, and I just don't know who I want to win. So I think it comes down to who I like. Do I root for Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift at this point, or do I root for the Eagles, which I think fans of the show traditionally know that I very rarely will ever give the Philadelphia Eagles anything. So I am going to give this pick to John McCann, the Philly captain, and we're going to go with the Eagles for him this week because fuck the Chiefs. I can't handle it anymore.
Zoo, who are you taking?
So I feel like the Eagles offense is going to do well against the Chiefs defense. It's the lack of wide receivers versus the lack of a secondary that has me intrigued right now. This is what's going to determine how this game goes. And for the lack of not having an answer to that question, I guess I'll just stick with the Eagles.
Okay. Good logic. I think this is the game that really shows us what the Chiefs can be for this year, how much they'll step up. I can never doubt Andy Reid to step up.
They always say you don't want to play against them off a bye week, right?
Exactly. And I think they've really taken that game in Germany personally, and they will try to figure some things out. But this Eagles team is they're good. They're strong. They're really good in the trenches. A.J. Brown, like you said, he's the player that I've been fawning over the most this season. Him and Max Crosby have been like my two favorite players to watch.
Sure.
And just what they do on offense, how much he helps them, I think it will be too much of a match for that Chiefs defense that I don't trust entirely. So I am continuing the streak here. I'm not zigging while everybody's zagging. I'm going to zag and go with the Eagles to close out.
More importantly, because Jason Kelsey didn't spend a whole weekend in Argentina, unlike the other Kelsey brother.
That's true. Travis, get it
Not gonna
together.
be jet
Well, that
Hey, Griffin actually snapped me from space just now. Just so you know.
oh, look at
Okay.
Happy
Hey,
Griffin.
Griffin.
Hey, Griffin. Well, those are our Ricks versus Gricks picks, and we are going to close out the show the same way that we always do. And Mindy, Tiffany, I want you all to really help judge and critique Scott as he brings our weekly
Patronize.
locks segment here. The Calvin Ridley Memorial Betting Slip. So, the Calvin Ridley Memorial Betting Slip. You all should know him. I'm sure you all know every situation that happened with him. Getting suspended for a year for betting a huge parlay, so now we do it in honor of that man. Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley betting slip. So, every week we have Scott do a just multi-prop parlay, just something ridiculous. We'll go about 13 picks, 12 picks, all over the place. And he has to do a prop from every single game. Plus, he can pick one lock of the week, one locked game of the week that he'll put in there. And he can never use that team again. He added that challenge in himself. So
To himself, huh?
yeah, he brought it in himself. So we're gonna see what he's got this week. How did you do the last couple of weeks, Scott?
Oh God, do we have to talk about that?
Yes.
Not good. I am not giving Calvin Ridley what he wants. I think the last one I missed 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 11. So I went, what's that math? 7 for 4. That last 11 pick parlay.
Yeah,
numbers are hard.
Numbers
are
tough.
And then so there's that, and then I think the one before that it was 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5. Missed 5 on that one, 5, 6 on that one. So but this is a new week, Reid. I don't want to talk about last week. I want to talk about this week because I actually, I don't want to trust my gut. I looked into this a little deeper. I actually put a little bit more legwork into it this week. Nice quick $10 parlay, 12 picks. Starting it out at the Cowboys, going to the Panthers. I'm going to take the under 67.5 rushing yards for Tony Pollard. I don't think he's really hit that mark consistently enough for me to take the over, and I think a lot of his production is going to start getting cut into there in Dallas. Rolling into the Bears and Lions game, somebody who has been having phenomenal production this year, and that's Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm taking the over 84.5. I think the last 4 or 5 weeks he's hit over 100 yards receiving, so I'm just going to take a safe bet there. And as much as I don't have faith in the Raiders, I feel like they're going to be playing from behind against the Dolphins. They're going to have to air it out a little bit. I think Devontae Adams has been super pissed there in Las Vegas. So give me the over half of a touchdown for Aiden O'Connell. Why the hell not? He's good for one. Steelers at the Browns. Another player I probably felt more confident in, that's TJ Watt. I'm actually going to take the over 0.75 total sacks. So just get 1 sack, TJ. That's all you need. I have faith in you.
Easy money.
Giant. Yeah, I think I think he has double digits on the season already. So I think, especially going up against Dorian Thompson-Robinson, he's going to be running around. So hopefully that pays out. Giants at the Commanders. This was one that I kind of struggled with. I was really looking into it a little bit deeper. I'm just going to take a Hail Mary, and I'm going to take the over 69.5 rushing yards for Saquon Barkley against the Commanders. They don't have Sweat.
Yeah, I like that.
Well, that's not very nice. They don't have Sweat. They don't have Chase, I think. And really the only weapon the Giants have right now is Saquon. So just trust the bell cow and run. Going into the Cardinals at Texans, taking the over 58.5 receiving yards for Tank Dell of the Houston Texans.
Rise up!
This would be the Calvin Ridley Memorial betting slip without actually betting on Calvin Ridley himself. But we're taking the under 48.5 receiving yards for Calvin Ridley of the Jaguars against the Titans at home.
This is huge, Jim!
We were just talking about them a little bit ago, the Chargers and the Packers game. I I think Jordan Love is going to come out. He's going to start airing the ball around against that Chargers secondary. I'm going to give him the over 1.5 passing touchdowns.
Happy Chinooka.
And even though he burned me last week too, I think he's going to get right back on that horse and get that touchdown. Give me the anytime touchdown score for Christian McCaffrey against the Bucs.
I think I've done that every week.
Give me it. If I could put any anytime touchdown score bet in this parlay, it would have to be him every single time, just based off odds. Going into the Jets and the Bills, give me the under 56.5 rushing yards for Breece Hall of the Jets. Then we're going to go into another player who I feel could make a push for the offensive rookie of the year, and that's Jackson Smith-Njigba of the Seahawks. Give me the over 43.5 receiving yards for him against the Rams. And after,
what do you think?
with all these player props, you're like, Scott, you haven't put a team bet in there yet, and that's because we're ending it at prime time. Vikings, Broncos.
Yes,
give me the Vikings on the road. Give me so that's a $10 pet for 12 picks that will pay out $11,672.64.
All right. That means we're in on this one, right?
Yes.
Do we have to pay our $2 or what?
Hey, it's not going to hit anyways based off my history. So
no, I think this is it. There might have only been one. I was like, maybe. Hey,
I think looking back at it afterwards, I think the one that gives me the biggest kind of about is probably the over for Saquon and then the over for Jordan Love. Those are two I'm kind of iffy about.
1.5 touchdowns, yeah.
Y'all realize if it hits, you have to keep coming back until he misses after that.
That's true. Yeah. You'll be stuck with us. So on a parlay like this, on an all props parlay plus like one game, like what kind of advice? We should have asked for the advice beforehand. But what kind of advice would you give? No, do it.
Don't do it.
We also, again, we like that you're spreading the bets out because, again, like our thing too is like if you get a shot to hedge. I mean, if you get,
get someone on Prize Picks to go the other way for you, right?
You get 8-9 wins in a row, then that's when you start betting the other way and you make sure you take some money home. That's our advice for betting parlays.
Exactly. And then also, I mean, nowadays, they give you the no sweat bets. So why not? Why not do it, right? You put your $10 out and they give you $10 back. Easy money, right? I like it.
And yeah, I have a 9-year-old boy at home and he likes the math. He must get that from his aunt. But and that's what he likes to do. He likes to see when we get like the big parlays where it gets to like $1 million, And so I'm like, I randomly put in some 20 teamers just to make him happy. But someday I might hit one.
Do y'all have a preferred app?
Well, I mean, we have about 6 that we look through to get the best odds. I feel like I shouldn't promote anyone since no one's necessarily promoting me, but if I like DraftKings because DraftKings will allow me to get rid of the half points. So I do that a lot more than not. I use them for like say the NBA because I'll get a lot of pushes throughout the season rather than not on totals and such. So if I'm using FanDuel or the ESPN Bet or whatever, they don't allow me to go ahead and get those half points out of there. So again, if I'm going to say who I like, it's gonna be them. Not that I'm like a VIP member or anything.
Yeah, and I like I like the BetMGM is what I like the best. But again, like she said, that one you can't do. You can't like bet your own line. So, but
they're also giving you a lot better odds. So like say you might be getting -120 at BetMGM and you're getting -135 at say FanDuel. So you do get the better odds, but you also don't get the chance to manipulate those plays that you have.
And I get a lot of free bets at BetMGM as well. And so again, like I play those, and I also I like the Bet Rivers. We use that a lot as well. I don't know if that's kind of a Midwestern betting site, but that one I use for baseball because I like that. Again, you can pick your own line and stuff. So
I like BetMGM just to party with Jamie Foxx and a lion. That's what I see on the commercials.
Yes, and I really like the 8-bit berry promotion. I don't know if you played the video game. See your free bet every week, but yeah, they have some fun promotions.
We like it. We like it. We have loved having you two here. It's been fantastic. This has been such a fun show and a fun time having you all. Thank you so much, Mindy and Tiffany, for being here. They are, of course, at Two Old Ladies That Bet. You got the ats right there. Go find them. So tell us where to go find your premium picks, how much we can subscribe for to really just start raking in this money.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of different things that we have going on, but I think if you want to be in on all of these wagers with us, you can go to EPA Sports. That's through our Patreon account. So go to patreon.com, EPA Sports, and you can get all of our hot sheets, right? So that's going to give you the over-unders on anything that you can handle. So it's going to be NHL, NBA, we got hockey.
Well,
WNBA's over, but
baseball's over.
Yeah, but I mean, you're going to get all of the major sports on there, and you get all of the totals and all of the spread leans. Now with EPA, it's expected points added, right? So we do like you to go ahead and play the totals a lot more than just the spread picks. But again, it's up to you how you guys want to take this. I mean, basically, we use it as a tool, right? So you have something that you like, and then you can look at our data to see if it compares with what you have. Or if you don't have the time to put into the work, like how Scott did on his extra work for his parlay this week, if you don't want to do the work, we do all the work for you, and you can just go ahead and follow along with our picks. We also sell our premium picks at tonyspicks.com. That's where we're at right now. We're also putting together a multi-capper site for ourselves. You can also find some picks from us on the Two Old Ladies That Bet website there as well. And then we do create a little bit of content for WagerWire, so you can always check us out there as well. So yeah, we loved being on your show. It was awesome. You guys are great. We checked out all of your stuff before we came on today, and really like your content. You guys are doing good work.
That
I do. I really do.
part.
I mean, I love it. I like you guys are cool. I just I feel like you guys are nice. How about that? I know that's probably bad to say.
They must not have seen my Taylor Swift rant.
Probably not yet, but I could just feel it, right? You guys are.
It's okay. I bet again, you guys be fun to hang out with, and those are the people we like to work with.
Thank you guys so much. That means a lot. Thank you for being here. This has been awesome. Of course, people go follow them, like them, rate them, subscribe to them, do all the things for them.
Yes.
Two Old Ladies.
Yes, you can find our YouTube channel as well.
Yes.
Two Old Ladies Bet.
Exactly.
We do a show every day at 1 p.m. Eastern, so you can check us out on the channel live. Be there, be square.
Go subscribe.
Mindy and Tiffany.
Follow and subscribe. Follow and subscribe to them. Follow and subscribe to us at 323 Network on YouTube while you're there. You can see Scott Ellia, 323, the College Shame Day. Thank you for being here, Scott. We have plenty of college football to catch up on
Yeah,
Shame
it's gonna be a doozy of a show this weekend. I'll tell you that.
Oh boy,
who's gonna win? Are the Huskers or or Wisconsin? Who's gonna win?
Ooh, give me Wisconsin.
Right,
ooh, look at that little bonus. Hey,
I was hoping you would say Huskers, but yeah, I think Wisconsin.
I don't know. I like what Matt Rule's doing out there, though. I like him as a college coach. I think he's going to get Nebraska turned around really quick. I think that game against Colorado wasn't really fair to kind of judge what the direction's going to be. I just trust Wisconsin a little bit more at this point.
Yeah, Nebraska turns the ball over too much.
It's not my show. Totally,
okay.
But I would fully invite you all to Shame Day. I think you all would be great on College Shame Day to go over.
It's a fun one. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about this weekend.
Oh yeah, feel like there'll be a lot of Michigan talk. We'll get there. Of course, go check out College.
Take
Shame
Michigan
Day.
-19. Take them.
And of course,
take Ohio State too. Take them. Take Iowa. I'll give you all my picks.
Oh, Iowa. Oh God, I have a lot of Iowa takes.
Take the under on Iowa. Always under on Iowa.
Zuhair Ali, thank you for being here. You can check him out on the Animation Deliberation podcast. Anything happening? What do you got going on for AD this week?
I think you need to show us how to do that. That's pretty cool.
I think I
get
can
a Mac.
No, it won't.
Yeah, just the usual Jujutsu Kaisen weekly coverage. My co-host is out of town, so it is just kind of like a 10 to 15 minute rant of what I think of the episode, especially with all the stuff going on about animators being overworked. It's a little bit of a problem, and it can't help but come up in a conversation every week. Aside from that, me and Jay Scotty are also doing Invincible coverage every week. There's only 8 episodes this season. We got 2 up already, so be sure to check both of those out.
All right. Go check it all out. And like I said, go to subscribe to the 323 Network on YouTube. Thank you all for listening to the show, as you always do. Thank you for watching wherever you do. This has been fun. We will have a lot to catch up with you on. I mean, even just from this Thursday night football game, I've seen Joe Burrow go down. I think he's back in by this point. Lamar has gotten hurt. Mark Andrews is out for the game. A lot to catch up on when we have a very special Thanksgiving edition of Ricks versus Gricks. I think will come out next Monday. So just to get you in time for those Thursday games. Thank you all, of course, for being here. Thank you for listening. We will talk to you all soon. Stay safe, everybody.
All right, baby. Take care.
What would